Hey guys, welcome back. It's Claytano. Thanks so much for tuning in as always. And today's video is a ultimate beginner guide on the Bazaar. It's been in development for a really long time, but it finally came out on October 30th. So at the time of this video, it's been out for a little less than 2 weeks at the moment. So not a whole lot of information about it, but it was created by a friend of mine or an acquaintance. So I am really excited to play it. I've been having a lot of fun so far, and I hope you guys will enjoy it as well. In order to actually get the game, you just go to the Bazaar's main website, download it off of there. As of right now, you do need a closed beta key, which you can purchase through their website, or you can get it given to you from a referral through a friend. Outside of that, once you download it, it's pretty straightforward, and this is the main screen that you jump right into. So just to kind of go over things step by step as we get into it, we do have our tag up here, Apprentice Merchant. I think if you donate to the game, it'll give you a different tag. You have your player tag, and then you have your rank up here in the top left. You have gems over in the top right, some basic settings, which I don't really need to get into all of that. But overall, just a very simple home screen, which I love. The Bazaar name down here in the bottom right doesn't actually do anything. It's just, showing you that you're playing the Bazaar. And then you have your collection over here on the left, which it actually took me a little bit to figure out because it's not there's no tutorials, there's no pop-up guides and text anywhere, which I actually kind of enjoy, but it is a little, it just kind of leaves you up to do what you can kind of figure out. So, ultimately, it is in closed beta. I don't know if they're going to change that or not, but I do love the fact that it's just kind of explore and kind of figure things out. So you have, different skins for each aspect of the game, which we'll get into when we actually start playing the game. But this is just, things that you get by opening up loot crates. Loot crates are earned through playing the actual game itself. As of right now, I don't believe there's a way to buy loot crates. I think it's only by playing them. But as you can see, there's different skins for your board and everything else that goes into it. You can actually open up the crates here. For whatever reason, it took me a really long time to figure out how to open up the crates that I'm getting throughout the game. So if you guys are having issues with that, it's just right there. And then you'll see them on the right-hand side over here, and you just pull the lever. Again, I love that there's no buttons. It just has the crate here. You click it, you drop it off, and it just kind of lands into your portal right here. And then once you have a new one, you just pull a lever, and then it goes to the next one. All of these skins are actually NFTs, so just something to keep in mind too, which is kind of cool. They're all numbered, so if you happen to get multiples of the same one, it just gives you different numbers of that skin. So I can give you an example on the board right here. So I have two of these flower things, and this first one is 16,294, and then I have another one over here, 12,411. So to get past that now, all we have to do is click on this button down here. It says play, and then we have 3 characters on the side. Each of these characters have different items that come to you throughout the game, and while you're playing, there are different things that can happen where you can get items from other characters. But think of it in terms of your main skill build is based around the character that you're playing. Vanessa is free. If you have donated or bought the beta key, you should be able to get these at either a discounted price or for free as well. And that's pretty much it for the characters. There's a lot more in-depth stuff that goes into them, which we'll get into in future videos. But for right now, just all you really need to know is that different items come to different characters, and based on those items, you can come up with different builds, etc. Over here, you have the ability to change out your skins from either the characters or the board that we just went over in the collection on the previous screen. Outside of that, not really a whole lot else going on this screen other than just your gems up top and the name over in the top left as well. You have 2 different game modes right now. It's the normal free-to-play, which is obviously free-to-play as it says, and then you have ranked, which either costs gems or you can get tickets by playing normal and getting 10 wins. Again, I'll explain all of that in a little bit more detail as we get into actually playing. And then, ranked, I think you get, so when you get 10 wins, you get a free ranked play ticket. And then I also believe you get one free ranked play ticket every single day on reset. Otherwise, you're just spending these gems, which you get when you open up crates again on the left hand on the previous screen. There's some info buttons here, which you can kind of log in, log out whenever you want. So it'll keep track of your play progress, which I like. That means you don't have to do a full run in one sitting. You can kind of just play a little bit, play a couple rounds, and then log out, do whatever you want to do, come back to it. Again, here's your ranked ticket that you get from winning 10 wins on normal play. So what I'll do, I'll just play normal for right now while I'm kind of giving you guys an explanation of the game. All right, so when you first jump into the game, it's gonna look like this, and I love it because there's not a whole lot of like buttons, there's not a whole lot of text. Everything is pretty interactive while you're clicking on things. So over here, you're gonna have your time of day, which is very important. I'll explain it kind of as we go. You have the number of victories, which is only specific to the times you play another player. You play another player at the end of each day. These are specific hours within the day, so you kind of have different things that come up throughout the day. Your prestige meter just means when this reaches 0, you have one more fight. Otherwise, if you lose that fight, the whole entire run is over, and however many victories you have at the time that you lose that fight is the your overall score for the entire round or run. You have your stash at the bottom left here, which is where you hold all of your items, and then you have your bank on the right side over here, which says how much gold you have, which is used for buying items. And then you have your income or your economy, which is the amount of gold you gain at the start of each day. Again, just at the start of each day, not on each hour of the day. You have your character here that you chose when you first logged in. And it kind of gives you just a little bit of an idea of, your skill goes here. Your skills will go here as you get skills, which you'll see here in a second. And then this is the amount of experience that you get that you need to level up. Each time you go through an hour, you get one experience, and ultimately at the time you level up, you'll be able to choose between some different power-ups and upgrades, which are random according to your character. So the first thing you'll do is you'll click on this thing up here. It says choose an item and skill to start your journey with. These are going to be specific items to your character again, and they're always going to be silver tier items. So there's actually 4 different tiers. There's a bronze tier, a silver tier, a gold tier, and a diamond tier. And so you'll start with silver tier, which is actually pretty good. And these are the items that you'll kind of choose from. It can give you small items, which are half size of these because you can only fit so many items on your board according to your level. But sometimes it'll give you small items to choose from. Sometimes it'll give you medium items. Sometimes it'll give you a mix of both. But for right now, we have these 3 items that it gave us. You'll see at the top of each item that there is the size of it. So medium is double width, it's a square. Small is going to be half of this, so it's going to be like a kind of a sliver, and then large is going to be an extra slot out here. So you'll have small, medium, and large. Aquatic is just the type of item it is. That took me a while to kind of figure out between like what is aquatic. It's just another tag on a weapon, and then certain weapons or certain items. It doesn't necessarily have to be an aquatic weapon. It could be an aquatic tool, as this one is. But certain items, all items are non-specific to a tool. So everything is an item, but tools are tools. Weapons are weapons. When you hear the game say an item, it can mean tool, weapon, property, whatever. It can mean anything. An item is an item. a tool is an item, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So this first one that you're buying though is not going to be, it doesn't cost you any gold. So you can either buy the highest, cost item that it sells for 4 gold, or you could just go with something that is actually going to be useful for your team, which in this case, for me, I like going with a weapon strategy. So you can see over here, this is a weapon. It deals 75 damage, also burns them, and has a 4-second cooldown, 2 ammo, which means this only attacks twice, and then it's done. Done for the fight, unless you have items that kind of boost it back up. You can kind of read a little bit more here. When an item runs out of ammo, it can no longer fire ammo. Ammo refills after each fight, unless you have an item that, refills it. Burn damages player twice per second. Every time burn deals damage, it decreases by 1. So if you have 6 burn, it's going to deal 6 burn, then 5 burn, then 4 burn, then 3 burn, then 1 burn. And it'll ultimately take out that much HP from your enemy. So you can kind of like multiply this by itself. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, add all that up, and that's how much it'll burn. Burn, we'll get into a little bit more of burn in a second. But you can see this doesn't have ammo. It's a weapon, 5-second cooldown, deal 18 damage, deals double crit damage. It always has like a sub stat. Sometimes items have sub stats, but this is the main thing that happens every 5 seconds. And then these are like the passives for that item, if that makes sense. So you see this one doesn't have a second bar underneath. So it just has, active 4-second cooldown, 75 damage, 6 burn. That's it. In order to kind of pull it up like this, I am just right clicking on it. So I know that's not necessarily intuitive, but you can kind of get a little bit more information by right clicking on it. Yeah, so let's just start off with this cannon, and we will move on to the next thing, which is skills. So you're always going to get a gold skill. So skills have tiers as well. We have, stuff that increases our burn, stuff that increases our damage, and stuff that permanently increases things over time. All these skills, they're kind of unique. So just pick which one you think is good. I'll get into more strategy in other videos. So if you guys like this video and want to learn more about the game, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button and follow for more. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say the leftmost weapon deals plus 24 damage, because that's going to help us out early on, because the plus 3 damage over the course of each fight is more of like a long-term play. This is more of a short-term play. All right, so after you've picked your item and your skill, you get a silver item and a gold skill. Now you're faced with 3 options, and you're always going to have 3 options at the start of every hour. You see I gained 1 experience after that first hour, and now we're on to our first encounter. I could choose between these 3. The one on the right is typically a free option. Sometimes it changes it up, but these are most of the time randomized. So I can either just say I want 3 gold, I can say I want more weapon skills, or if I want weapons, I click on Isla. So weapon skills is something like this, which empowers your weapons. And if I want more skills, I can click on that guy. If I don't like any of these, I can just get something for free and come over here. Anytime it says sells something, that means you're going to have to buy it and spend gold. So if you don't have gold and you don't want to go to a shop, I recommend going with something that it just says gain or get. For me, I'm going to go ahead and buy a weapon. You see, changed another hour. And after I pick a weapon or buy something, or either leave this encounter by clicking over here, it'll give me another experience after this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this throwing knives, which is another ammo item, another ammo weapon. As you can see, this has another sub trait underneath, which means every time I crit with another item, I use this. It does take one of my ammos every time I use it. And this one has a 3-second cooldown. As you can see here, here's another aquatic weapon and a friend. Again, friends are just another like sub category or tag for this particular item. We'll go ahead and re-roll this if we want to, or just say, I'm good with what I've purchased, I'll move on and leave this encounter. All right, the second encounter is always going to be a monster, and you're gonna fight the monsters. So again, next encounter, got another experience, and then I could choose from any of these monsters. The monsters are also tiered monsters, and you could see the rewards that it gives you. Haunted Kimono is going to give us 3 gold, 1 experience, and I actually don't really know what that one on the right side is. I typically just go with whichever one I feel like I can beat. All 3 of these are on the same level. Most of the time after this, you're going to have 3 different leveled monsters. If you don't beat this monster, then you're going to lose prestige. And again, if you lose too much prestige, then your run is over. So I like fighting this Kyber drone guy because he gives you typically a cooldown skill. The other guy gives like a shield item. And so different monsters give you different items after you beat them. But this is the battle phase. It's all automated, which is nice. And you can see things just start happening. For those of you that are following me from autochess days, it's kind of similar to that. And everything in between is your setup leading to the battle. And it's kind of like a good mix between autochess, maybe some Hearthstone vibes. Realistically, there's no like cards. I think that another one is like backpack battles is kind of similar to this. And then so after the battle, you get another experience and you're on to your next encounter. I got an additional experience because again, winning that fight gave me an additional experience. That item also showed up in my on my board here, and now I have another encounter. I can get an item. This says get some chocolate bars. When it says get chocolate bars specifically, those chocolate bars are items that give you additional health. You can buy chocolate bars, so you can spend gold to actually get better chocolate bars, or you can just get chocolate bars, which are lower tier chocolate bars for free. So technically, this is something where you can buy and or just get, depending on what you need at the time. And then we have another shop over here that sells small and large items, which we haven't gotten into in too much detail yet. But again, so here's a small item. As you can see, it's small, it's skinny, just takes up 1 spot. This takes up 2 spots. This is a medium item. This gave me 3 small items. And I'll probably just grab the revolver over here. It's just a basic weapon. And so if we go into my stash, you can see it over here. When you crit fully reload this, which is again a sub property, crit chance 20%, deal 5 damage, and then you have 6 ammo with this. It's a small weapon. That's about it. That's all there is to it. This item is nice because it gives adjacent items plus 1 ammo. So now you'll start to see how things synergize together, because if I have this item that has ammo, this item that has ammo, and I slide this guy right in between, it's going to give them both an additional ammo. All right, so now they have 2 and 3. Put this in. Now they're gonna get 3 and 4. So that's pretty much it for that. Let me see if I can re-roll and find a large item. Here's a small aquatic item. Not really, anything I need to go over with that. All right, so it doesn't give me any large items to show you guys, but here is an ambergris, which is a heal item. So different items, they're not all just weapons and do damage. You have a small aquatic item here that heals, and you can see it's green, so it heals. Red is going to be damage or weapon. Yellow is going to be a shield that you can add on. So there's a whole bunch of different types of things we can look at. And then again, another encounter. This one sells items. This one sells skills. This one sells health, or just gives you health rather. I'm gonna go click on sells items because I want more items. And again, when it says items, you can get pretty much anything, any item. When it says sells tools, you're only gonna find tools in that shop. I want this because it reloads my weapons, just like what I was saying previously. Okay, here's a new one. So this green one up here is poison. And anytime you use this item, it poisons the other team. Poison ignores shield, which means that the other player can be putting up as much shield as they want, and it just goes straight through. It just ignores it and goes straight through shield. Burn, however, ticks the shield off first before it actually starts hitting the health. So something to keep in mind between burn and poison. There's no other abnormal status effects other than burn and poison, but there is a freeze, which are freezing items that are on the board itself. You have items like this that are tools that if you buy them at the start of each day, get a small item from any hero. Anything that's like this, where it's at the start of each day, I want to say most of the time, if not all the time, is going to work, even if it's in your stash. So I'm gonna bring this onto the board because I want to keep reloading. Every 4 seconds it will reload my cannon, which is great. And let's leave this counter. You'll have items like this, which when you sell them, your leftmost item gains 5% crit. If this item doesn't crit or can't crit, it's not going to give that item crit chance. So my leftmost available item is the cannon, which it'll give that crit chance. I'm not going to do it because I might get something better later on. But all right, so here we're at the end of the day. We have 5 hours on day 1. Once you hit the 6th hour, this is a player. It took me a really long time to understand who is a player and who is a monster. But as you can see here, this is a player. It has a name on the top right of the screen here. I can't really move my mouse over to highlight it with my mouse, but you can see Uka Minosoras is the player's name. And on the bottom right, it shows the amount of wins he has for the current run, and it shows the level, which is 1. All right, and then it also shows his prestige, which on day 1, you're pretty much going to be max prestige. So it kind of gives you an idea of who you're about to fight, and if you need to make any adjustments to your board before you go into this fight, you should do so. Also, you can see the type of character it is, and typically, people build certain characters certain ways, and if you need to counter that character and change your board up, now is the time to do so. There's really nothing else you can do at this point in terms of buying more items. This fight is going to happen, but I can still change stuff that's on my board for the current fight leading up, with items that are in my stash and stuff like that. So with that being said, let's get into our first player fight.
Go ahead, underestimate me. It makes this more fun.
All right, Grand Founder means that he had donated to the game before it launched. Up here you see he's got his skills. He's got his health bar here. This is the shield, and these are healing him. So you can see the burn goes from 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it ticks off the shield first, which is in yellow here, before it actually ticks his health meter. So pretty close fight so far. For some reason, it took me a really long time. He was so close to being 0 health, but ultimately pulled it off. So now, goes to the next day. Now we're on day 2. After day 2, anything, after each day, any items that you have that give you specific items will show up now. And if you don't have room on your stash or in your board, you don't get it. So just kind of keep that in mind if you have any of those types of items. You can see over here that we're now on day 2 of the 0 hour. And our experience is almost to the point where we get to level up. But now we have, you know, another round of shops. So this person sells non-weapon items. This is an abandoned chest, which gives you, different rewards. So there's some interesting encounters here that aren't necessarily shops, but the one time you click on them, it's always going to be the same stuff. So it's not like, an abandoned chest this time is going to give you different options than an abandoned chest next time you click on it. The abandoned chest is always going to give you the same stuff. For whatever reason, I kept clicking on these things thinking I would get a different result. And after I think the 50th time clicking on the lost crate, I was like, oh, it's just going to give me the same things over and over and over again. Get an item. This is randomized. But these types of encounters are always going to be the same. So let's click on one and I can show you kind of what it looks like. All right, so I got disconnected. That happens. It'll show your wins here if, like, say, for example, I want to just log out at this point. When I log back in, it'll refresh it and it'll show it. But this is good because you could just, resume, log back in, say I need to, go out, go to work, tired, go to sleep for the day, whatever. I can just, log out at any point and come right back into the game at the same spot that I left. So I do think that's, well, never mind. So I completely lost all my stuff because of a disconnect. So that happens sometimes too. Again, keep in mind, it is beta, but for this video, that's pretty much the basics of it. I'll get into more specific builds so that way, you can understand as you level up. What I was going to say is your board expands up to the point of the edge, so you can continue to add more items on the board. All of those items can synergize together well, and you want them to synergize together well in order to have the highest chance of winning 10 times before your prestige meter runs out. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. So I will stop the video here. If you guys have any questions, obviously leave comments down in the comment section below. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. Stay soupy, and I will see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.